Welcome to the Drive Shack. My friend Jason gifted me with this Mac G5, which has a PowerPC 970 processor running at 1.8 gigahertz and has half a gig of memory at the moment and is expandable to 2. It had a dead hard drive. It was on the garage floor. Put an SSD in it, which is a turbocharger for any vintage machine, and this one in particular because it has SATA, even though it was only from 2004. It's pretty fat. This was a really fat machine. It reminds me of a Sun workstation. It has its BIOS is a command line interface that allows you to do a lot of memory inspection and testing and boot management. It's called New World. Since Mac OS was not going, it would run, of course, but it wouldn't be able to surf because of OpenBSD's contribution to the internet. Some of them, which is a secure software layer, encryption, a lot of security aspects. OpenBSD is a security-oriented operating system and has its contributions have mainly been in that area. But the latest version of OpenBSD runs on this machine beautifully. I just shut the machine down dirty and it's letting me know. So the only thing about now this, I only have Wi-Fi down here in Jason's guest room here in wonderful Asheville, North Carolina. It's beautiful and it's cold. But I have Linux and my notebook. So my notebook has its wireless attached to the router upstairs, and then this cable leads over to Mr. Apple G5. So the Linux machine is acting as a NAT router for me, not having a wireless Ethernet adapter for this thing. See the pufferfish security. that's their motto. So I installed OpenBSD 7.4. This works much better than the canned desktop managers that come with the distro. I tried them all, and they all have the same problem, and it has to do with menus not following the mouse. Like when you do a drop down here and you move the mouse, see it's following. Oh yeah, see it's following it, but it doesn't. In the other distros, it will forget, and I can actually demonstrate the problem. Here we go. I can make it happen, and this is throughout all the distros. And if you read carefully on the forums and so forth, you'll see that everybody, it's known. But see, it's tracking the mouse. But if I try too hard, if I try to push that too much, it forgets that the mouse exists, and it actually gives the impression that the whole GUI is hung. It's not hung. You can either use the mouse to continue, or use the keyboard to continue to select whatever it was you wanted to select and then hit enter to execute it, or you can just hit escape and get out of that menu and you'll get your GUI back. So I can make it happen, and you have to be aware of it. But with this combination, it's not nearly as evident or pervasive. This is, if we look at more slant etc slant x11 slant Xwindows, which is the login manager you saw with the pufferfish that OpenBSD uses. Xwindows, you log in and then it automatically launches an X session. So the file that does that is Xwindows X session, which is a human readable file, human editable. And here I have exec lx terminal ampersand exec PCManFM space dash dash desktop space dash dash one dash screen space and exec GKRelm and, which is this wonderful toy here. and exec user local bin ICEWM session. That combination works really well and does not display that crummy behavior nearly so much as the others. This is actually usable. You could use it as a daily driver. You can do word processing, kwrite, Kate, kcal. Dillo is a good browser. Dillo has a configuration file. I think it's dillo.conf. And if you look in there, you'll find a line at the bottom that basically instructs Dillo to tell websites that it's Firefox revision X. And what that does is a lot of times the websites will dumb down a site. They'll see the Dillo report and they won't know what to do with it, so they'll just put the dumbest version or none at all. But with this spoofer in, with it telling it's Firefox, that more closely matches the browser's actual capabilities, and so you can, the page may not render quite the way you expect it to, but it will render. Here's an example, or yeah, okay, we'll go to the EpicTimes.com. It's a newspaper, and it's got a bunch of images and formatting and so forth. And without JavaScript, without a lot of it's a lightweight browser. Without that, it's not going to render it perfectly, but what it's going to do is render all the information, and you'll be able to surf it so you can actually read the news and see the pictures. There are it's loading 18 of 418 pictures right now. I should be able to grab the slider and slide, and if we're patient and let it do its thing. Here we have our headlines, and yes, if I click on them, they all work. So if I want to read about Rand Paul, Never Nikki, or campaign spending or whatever, I can do that. And it's not hard on the CPU either. It multitasks very well. Here's let's see, LX terminal, and it always gives me a kick to emulate a machine on a machine, and in this particular way, it's a really interesting machine, so it's fun. Sound, that's right. Atari 800-sound ampersand. And here we go. We actually have an Atari 8-bit computer emulator running in a window. And what should we play? Pac-Man? Oh, wait a minute, I have to mount that disk. Hang on a second. Mount -T MS-DOS slant dev slant SD0L. That's the partition on the USB device. Slant NMT slant USB. Oops. And I should preface that with sudo or do as. We'll do that. Okay, so now it's mounted. Let's go here and we'll go ahead and load Pac-Man. The Atari 8-bit version, which is much, much better than the 2600 by just infinitely. So here we go. Game executable. P. Yes, I have every game ever made for every piece of software just about. Okay, Pac-Man. Oh, this is Sir Pac-Man. I feel ripped off. I hate it when they do that. Not the real one at all. Is that the real one? Okay, that's the real one. No, this is not it either. Oh, they're cheats. Oh, well, I'll find the original one of these days. But we actually have a working emulated Atari 8-bit there. Isn't that awesome? I know you're all just beside yourself with glee, just like I am. Let's see. Oh, did I show you? This is GK Realm. I think I showed it to you. See, rubber banding works too. You can, that's PCManFM doing its manly job as a desktop manager. This is GK Realm. I'm going to bring it closer because it's just a really cool toy. Very OS2-like in its configurability. I just fell in love with this, and it runs on every Xnix available. I'm sure Mac OS. I'm sure every Unix that's got Xwindows. You have this in the package. Usually, almost invariably pre-compiled, so there are other lovers of this. It's got a ton of like, I have all the themes installed, of course, so I can my favorite is Aliens, but it's got a bunch of themes. Not all of them work on this one. We'll just try a random selection and see what we get. So see, there's one True Blue that works. A cow default. But fortunately, my favorite one, Aliens, works beautifully. And see, it has two theme alternates. So this is theme 0. This is version 2, and this is version 1, and this is version 0. I prefer version 0, but it's got that hook on it. It's just wicked looking. And you can see it has, you can add and subtract. For example, let's take a look. Enable CPU. Okay, so here's. Did you see it pop up? Enable CPU. Adds a window for CPU load, and also a graph. Clock settings. What network adapters should be shown here? Here's Gem 0, which is the Ethernet adapter. There's Drive 0, which is the SD 0, which is presently is the USB card that I was reading the Atari data off of. This is the main hard drive here and its load. And this is WD0. Memory settings, just infinite, and there's a whole ton of plugins as well. So it's just a wonderful tool. Sits on top of there, does its job, and lets me know when I have mail. Gives me cache statistics, all the geek stuff you could ever want. Blinking lights, lights. We must have more lights. Also, something that doesn't necessarily always work on these old workstations when you're trying to get. You want virtual consoles. Right now, if I hit alternate control F1, it's going to give me a prompt, TTYC0. If I hit alternate control F2, it's going to give me TTYC1, F3, TTYC2, F4, TTYC3. So, and if I hit F5, alt control F5, here's the main console, which is running Xwindows. Or, well, this is the frame buffer doing its job. So here we go. Now, if I just log in, so say the GUI locks up, which, it can happen. Xwindows is by far not perfect, especially when baked, but this, I actually sat here and used this machine for about 10 hours the other day without any glitch, any craziness at all. Let's go ahead and, what do we got running? Let's go ahead and let's get the sound back. I don't want to try and tax the machine like that. So we'll go ahead and PSX, make sure it's really dead. Okay, it's really dead. So now we'll go ahead and run full motion video. Is that cool or what? Oh, yes, here we go. Downloads. How Soviet pilots drank alcohol from airplanes. And we'll load it. MPV, it's a lightweight media player. I can run...
Aviation, a remarkable industry. possibly one of just a few where
VLC, but VLC doesn't actually, it just shows brief frames, like the audio runs perfectly, but anyway, here you can, and it's multitasking, guys. I mean, it's actually, and live window resizing. We'll go ahead and resize that, drag it over here. I don't know if you can hear the audio, but it is playing. Let me. This is Sky, I think he calls himself. I watch his channel a fair amount for aviation news and things. Now, let's say that I don't have, that I want to, I mean, obviously I can't with Dillo. You know, Dillo's capable, you know, it is, but it's not, you know, I can't go on Facebook with it. It just won't go because there doesn't have JavaScript, among other things. Well, Xwindows has a workaround for just about everything, and here's one. Remember, I told you that this machine is wired only, and this machine has an Ethernet card, wired and wireless. So it's acting as a router. That's all it's doing. But so far that I've shown you, or that it is doing, but you can make it do more. Unix has the capability, or Xwindows has the capability of displaying SSH-Y JSON, which is the machine over here that's doing the routing. And I'll log in there. Oh. And I can type, well, Opera. Opera is a hefty browser. There's no way that this machine is going to run Opera with any usability at all. It would run it like, you know, over a glacial period of time. But Xwindows has that capability to have a lightweight graphical terminal or workstation, older workstation in this case, that could not possibly run this application, but which can, using Xwindows communication, ship the screens back and forth. So it looks like it's running on this desktop. It looks like it's running on this machine, but it's not. It's every keystroke and every frame of video is, in fact, being processed on the Linux machine, running on the Linux machine. So I can go to Facebook. And there we go. Look at that. It's the Time Lord's birthday. Which can he sell? Happy birthday. Look, new stuff on the Atari history group. Oh, look at that. 91 others reacted to the original post to this. The original post I just had this was FVWM, and I had gotten GK Realm on it. But it's so bare bones. I went, you know, deep in search of some more usable desktop type user interface. And I stumbled upon this after trying all of the others. I stumbled upon this combination to find that it works very well. Try to install, even if you are sure that you're not going to get KDE running, or even if you don't want KDE running, try to install it anyway, or do install it anyway, even if it won't run, because it provides a lot of small programs like kwrite, kcalc, a bunch of little things, and also quite a bunch of the prerequisites for other packages. So it's worthwhile doing. So this really could be a daily driver if you were patient with your time. Like, you know, it took a little bit for kwrite to come up, but once it's up, the machine just really performs very, very nicely. You also have all the cool stuff that you have with, for example, let's see here. Okay, I right click on OpenBSD and I say move to, and I'll say I want to move that over to desktop 3 and clean this up a little bit. Go over here to desktop 3 and boom shanka, there it is. I'm going to show you the shutdown procedure now, which is really cool because the power management is apparently not, at least as documented, supported on this machine under OpenBSD's APM. But this works. Alt-P, oops, ha, sudo, yeah, I installed sudo, halt. Oh, yeah, okay, I did show you that. I showed you video halt-P. Okay. And this works. I'm really happy that it actually can turn itself off, which it just did. Thanks, Jace. Thank you all for watching.